Hi everyone, welcome to Bar Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. So today's video is a continuation of my previous video on how to cut a princess armhole dart. And this princess armhole dart has an illusion that was not cut out separately. Okay, I'll be dropping the link in the description box so that you can check out the drafting and cutting part of the video, because this video is just a continuation of the video on how to stitch them together. That's the sewing part. Okay, I hope you have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't done so, please kindly do so. So let's get right into the video. Thank you. I've gone ahead to top stitch my satin fabric to the lace. Can you see what I have? So you can either decide to use hemming gum to hold it down or you top stitch. For me, I prefer to always top stitch mine. Okay, and then considering that the lace fabric I'm using is a thick lace fabric, so this is just what I want. And then this is the side pieces. I've also top stitched it. For the other side, I've also done the same thing. Okay, so this is what we have now. I've done the same thing for my line and for the back piece. Now take note of what I did. From this part, I didn't sew all the way to the end of the satin, because remember that we still have our second lining that we'll be using to turn the neckline. Okay, so I also did the same thing on the center piece also. I didn't sew it all the way to the end. That's all the way to the end here, because I'll be using my lining to turn the neckline. So this is what I'll be doing now for the lining. I'm going to place like this. Can you see? I'll shift this lace fabric away, and then I'll place the lining like this and sew the neckline. So this is to enable me turn the neckline of my lining. Let me just pin it so that I can show us clearly. Uh, Okay, so here we have, at the time I'm done sewing, this is what we're going to have. The lining will be used to clean off the neckline. Can you see that? So this is what we're going to have. Okay, so now the next thing I'll be doing now, this aside, because I'm going to join these side pieces first before I do this. So the next thing now to do is to bring my side piece together, place it right side facing right side, making sure that the underbust part, that's, can you see where my pad is? That's where the wording ended, the pad. You can see that is the underbust part, and you can see they are matching up. So it's very important. I'm going to sew it on half inch all the way to this point, to this end here, and then of course I'll show us how to trim out the excess armhole. So I'm going to sew the three pieces together and also sew my lining together and show us the next thing to do. Okay, so after joining my pieces together, I went ahead to iron. Okay, there are two ways to treat the seam line. It's either after ironing, I used my pressing hand to my bust hand to iron. After ironing, you can use hay stay or paper stay to cover up this place, to leave the stitch, that's to leave this seam line opened. Okay, and then, or you can also do this. This is another thing you can do, which I decided to do this time around. Can you see that after ironing? Can you see what I have here? I went ahead to run a stitch on my seam line. This stitch I ran here, can you see? It's just like, it's a quarter inch. It's not even up to quarter inch stitch. Okay, or let's call it quarter inch. This is it. I ran a stitch from the start to the end. I did the same thing on this side. So take note of this part now. I've not done it on this side. I've pressed this side, but I've not used hasty to keep it open. And you can see this side, I've pressed it, and I've also top stitched. Can you see the difference? This has a nicer effect, okay, than this, because I've not put hasty already. So if I had put hasty here, this will also look like this. So it can be treated two ways. You can either top stitch to give it this nice effect, because this stitch outside it is also adding beauty to the outfit. You can see how the two stitches are. So it depends on you what you want. If you want to just use your hairstay to keep the the wording open here, that's your seam line open here, that's fine. But if you decide to do like me, to top stitch it, this is also fine. So you can see what I have on this side. You can see that it's really nice. I've not even ironed it from the right side. So I'm just going to repeat the same top stitching on this side, and then I'll press it properly. Okay. Okay, so I thought to share with us how I'm sewing it. I'm sewing from the right side. Can you see this is where my seam line joins together? I started stop stitching from here, and see, and then I'm going to continue. So this is the bust area. Okay, this is the part with the bust. So you just need to open it up like this. Can you see what I have? You open it up so that it sits nicely, and then you sew. So you see, just keep opening. So here we have. So after sewing, this is what we have. So can you see? This is me without ironing the front side. So this way of top stitching your bust line, that's the your seam line of your bust here, it has a way of giving it this firmness that feels as if there's a boning inside. You know, when there's boning inside your seam line, it just has a way of giving it that firmness, and it just sits nicely. So this gives that effect like there's a boning inside. Can you see? See, it's strong around here. So we're just going to take it to the pressing table, and then I'll iron it nicely, and then I'll show us how to turn the neckline with our lining. So after top stitching and ironing, you can see what we have. It's sitting really nice. Okay, so now for the facing, I'm sorry, for the lining. This is it. The lining is short. So can you see I've already gone ahead to join my pieces together. So now this is the armhole I was talking about that is subject to retrimming. So you can see that this one, see what came out, is more than what we're supposed to have. So all I need to do is just to see where the center piece, this is what I'm trying to say, see where the center piece ends. Okay, so now this armhole has to be trimmed to match up with this like this. So this is what I'm just going to do. You see that? So I've trimmed my armhole. So I'll just fold it into two so that I can trim the second one to be exactly like the other. So here we have, yeah, so here we have. So I've actually trimmed the front armhole. Okay, I did that one up there, so I just need to reshape it so that all you need to do is to trim your armhole correctly. So I've just fold it so that I can have the same thing on the other side. I want to make sure that whatever you are doing on the right, you are doing on the left too. So see my excess here. So I'm just going to trim it out. Yeah. This is sequence lace, so it's hard. So I actually have a particular scissors. This scissors is what I use for laces. Laces can spoil scissors a lot. Okay. So now it's time for us to turn the lining. So I'm going to just bring my lining like this. Remember that I didn't top stitch this part. Okay. So all you just need to do is to just shift it down, then pin it like this to this end. So remember, I've shifted my lace away from the space so that it doesn't interrupt anything, so that I don't sew on it. So here, through up to this point. So this is it. So now I'm going to just turn it in. So can you see my lace fabric is separate from it? So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and then I'll sew on 1/2 inch. So I'll also repeat the same thing on the back piece. Can you see I still left the same space? I did the same thing on the other side. So just the same way I place my lining in front, I'm going to do the same thing on the back pieces and show us the next thing when I'm done. Okay, so I've gone ahead to do my darts. You can see I've turned the neckline. Can you see where it stopped? Can you see? So the lace fabric goes upwards and then the facing the inner part, that's the illusion, the lower part just stays down. Okay, so this is the illusion part. It just wants, if you look at it, it's a little transparent. If it was a very transparent lace, you'll be able to see where this started from, even though this is a little transparent. So this is what it is. So now I've cut out my facing that I'll be using to turn this back side. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be turning the facing. I'm going to place this one this way, like this, right side, wrong side facing right side. Okay, and then I'll sew this way and then also sew this way. This is to finish off the rough, that's this part of my zip, so that the zip head is completely, where I finish the zipper, completely concealed in. So why am I placing right side and wrong side facing right side? Because by the time I sew this way, let me pin it so that we'll see. By the time I sew this way, I'll have the wrong side when I flip it to the back. This is because this is a sequined lace, okay? I don't want this sequence to be the one that will be touching the skin of the person. So this is why I'm placing wrong side facing right side, so that by the time I sew it, the wrong side will be the one touching the bare skin. You know, this is sequence. Sequence can cause unnecessary itch. Okay, so I'll repeat the same thing on this second side. I'll sew that. Okay, so for my front piece, this is what I'll be doing. I'll be using my cotton bias because this is where we want to really have the illusion. I want this part to be a little transparent. I don't know if my camera is showing it clearly, but this is transparent, so it will give us that transparent effect. Okay, so and I've also gone ahead to turn the neckline of the satin, that's of my doll face satin. So can you see how neat it's looking? And then this part just extends. I'll be using my cutting bias to turn the neckline, to finish off the neckline. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to join the shoulders. So since I already have a back facing, so I'll use the back facing to turn the shoulder so that it will conceal the shoulder. Okay, and then the next thing to do now will be to fix the sleeves. I'll fix my basic sleeve and then shape this dress on my sewing allowance that I left. Okay, I'll shape the dress and then fix the flare. This flare, take note, I didn't cut this flare, I didn't slash it on any side, so I just want it to be like this without any slash. So for the flare also, I'm going to be using my cutting bias to turn the hem, that's to trim the the lower part of the flare to finish it up neatly. So you can as well weave it or you can cut lining for it. But remember that I'm using a Mikado satin. This is already thick, so I don't want to increase the thickness because that's what you can see how it is standing already. So Mikado is a thick fabric, it gives that nice flow. So you don't really need crinoline for this. You can see that it's already giving the nice wavy look. But if you want to, you can still attach your crinoline. For me, we don't want it to overstand. This is just enough for us. Okay, so I'll do that and come back and show us. Okay, so here we are. This is the final look of our blouse. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like this video, share with your friends, and do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel. Put on the notification bell. Bye and see you in my next.